Good morning everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the state of the marketplace and how you can take advantage of it in order to make a little bit of Meseta. But before we jump into all of that, if you're new to the channel, I upload NGS content daily, so if you do play this game, I would really appreciate a subscribe as it really helps out the channel. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin the video. So the very first thing I want to talk about is thank you Sega for giving us streamer mode. Just having it right here at the systems makes it so much easier. So whenever I'm recording a video, I can just click streamer mode, click enable, and boom, I'm good to go. Once I'm done recording with the video, I can just disable it and all of my settings revert back to normal, which is very, very nice. So the first thing I want to show is I have activated a 3-day shop pass, and you can see here I am currently sitting on 46 million Meseta. So what exactly happened? How did I jump from my 25 million up to 46 million all of a sudden? Well, I kind of sold everything. So all of my Deafness 3s, all of my Dreadkeeper 3s, all of my Dreadkeeper 2s, I sold everything simply because I knew that the market was going to crash, because the moment I logged in and I saw that you can actually craft your Dreadkeeper 3s and craft your Deafness 3s, I was like, oh my goodness, this has to go now, because I knew other people would find out about it, and of course I made a video about it just to inform everyone, so obviously I needed to get rid of my stock. So that contributed to about 10 million Meseta. However, that still leaves a whopping 16 million Meseta. Where did that money come from? Well, it actually comes from the new Kukuhroziat Weapons. But before I jump into the new weapon series, I want to talk about understanding the market. So as we all know from simple economics, when a demand of a specific item is high and supply is low, those prices will go up. However, if there's a lot of supply and there's very little demand, then prices go down. So what is very high in demand right now at the state of PSO2? It is the new weapons. Why? Because it's the new shiny thing that just came out. However, it's not any Kukuhroziat weapon, they are very specific ones. So which two Kukuhroziat weapons specifically are going for a lot of money? The first one is the Kukuhroziat Rod, and the second one is the Katana. Now the reason why these two weapons are being sold at such a high price is because, first of all, there are a lot of Force players and there are a lot of Braver players, so demand is high. Second of all, it is difficult to farm for the Kukuhroziat weapon because the drop rate is relatively low already, but on top of that, it only drops off specific mobs. The Kukuhroziat Katana only drops from Bujins, which are level 31 and above, and if we look at the Kukuhroziat Rod, it only drops from Phantasy axes level 31 and above. So now let's take a quick look at where these mobs are. So if we look at Bujin spawns in North Alio, Vanford Laboratory Ruins, as well as Rezel Forest. However, level 31 Bujins only spawn in Vanford Laboratories as well as Rezel Forest, which means these are the only two places you can farm for this Kukuhroziat Katana. And I can almost guarantee you that 95% of the player base is chilling right here at Retem Al-Noth rank 3. Why? Because it's the best place to level up until level 45. Some people are still working on their main class, other people are working on multiple classes, leveling them all up to level 45, which is the current max level. So all the Kukuhroziat weapons that drop in Retem Al-Noth are going for dirt cheap, simply because there is a crap ton of supply, but there isn't enough demand, because as we saw earlier, the Katana is only going to drop over here at Vanford Laboratory Ruins as well as Rezel Forest, and it does not drop in Retem Al-Noth. But what about the Rod? Let's take a quick look at where the Phantasy axe spawns. So we can see the Phantasy axe only spawns in one location, that is Mount Magnus. So the only way you can get a Kukuhroziat Rod is farming at Mount Magnus rank 3, where all of the mobs are level 35 and above, and you need Sega's blessing to spawn a Phantasy axe, and when you kill it, you have a very low percentage chance of getting the Kukuhroziat Rod. And this is why supply is so low, simply because I don't like Mount Magnus, and I know a lot of people don't like Mount Magnus, and so not a lot of people are farming over here, and thus the Rod is never dropping because no one's farming there. So you can use this knowledge to your advantage by seeing, okay, what is really high in demand but very low in supply, and go out and farm for those. Now, of course, farming at Mount Magnus is not a total waste of time, simply because you still will get Strugmints. Unfortunately, Strugmints A and B don't go for a lot of money, but Strugmints C's are still going for 40,000. They're still going pretty strong, and I can guarantee you when the Geometric Labyrinth releases and people realize how difficult it is, they are going to invest into their new weapons and armors. And this is where a little bit of forecasting comes into play. So at the moment, you can see my battle power is 2,189. And as for my augments, nothing has changed. It is the exact same augments you've seen before. However, I was very fortunate to have the foresight to use the Addy Stamels. So Addy Stamel actually gives me 20 extra HP per armor piece. So this is actually giving me 60 extra HP, which is very, very nice because the Kukuhroziat weapons actually give us damage reduction. That is its potential. So you might not want to keep stacking damage reduction because as we know from floor potency, there is diminishing returns. So eventually, even though you're stacking tons and tons of damage reduction, there will be a point where you're not really gaining much and you would much rather invest into a different stat instead of damage reduction. And so by applying this knowledge into practice, what we can do now is start farming for augments which we think are going to be very valuable later down the line. So for example, stamina might become a useful stat, especially since we can now craft stamina 3s. It might become the new meta to actually use stamina might instead of death might, simply because maybe in the harder levels of the Geometric Labyrinth, it's less about killing things quickly and more about making sure that you can survive the first hit or one hit, so that you have that small buffer that you don't die, because I can almost guarantee you there is gonna be a point multiplier where it's like 0 deaths. If you don't die at all, your score will be multiplied by 10%. I can almost guarantee you there is gonna be a multiplier like that, and if you want the maximum points, you're definitely going to want to pick something up so that you have a quote-unquote cheat death mechanic. Other than playing Hunter, of course, you can just use Iron Will. But as for any other class, you just want to make sure that, hey, if a Gigantix hits me, at least I can survive one hit. That might become the meta. However, this is pure speculation. And of course, you can make the counter argument that, duh, if you just play perfectly, you don't need the HP and you can just go pure damage. And if that is your logic, then maybe start farming for very offensive-oriented capsules, which people might want later down the line. Because keep in mind, when we get our Kukuhroziat weapon, everyone is on the same playing field. We are all going to need to get our weapon to plus 50. We are all going to need to re-augment that weapon. So what augments would you put on your perfect Kukuhroziat weapon? Keep that in mind and farm for those specific capsules, because if you think it's good, there are bound to be other people which think it's also good. So for example, I really prefer the balanced build. So my perfect capsules are going to be the Addy Death Mel, Death Might, Dustle 3, Gigasmite 3, and Alt Secreta 3. However, I might switch out Alt Secreta 3 to maybe Mastery 4, simply because I don't like taking that 1.5% extra damage and that minus 10% HP. I would rather have 2.5% extra potency, 2.5% extra floor potency, and 2.5% damage resistance. But the thing is, Mastery 4 is extremely expensive. However, there are players that are going to go for Mastery 4 onto their armors as well as their weapons. So if you're incredibly patient and you're willing to put in the time and the effort, then Mastery is definitely something you can make a lot of money on. So for example, if you're just running the Retem yellow triggers, I believe it drops Mastery 1 with a chance of Mastery 2, but I think it's always Mastery 1, right? So you would have to farm 100 of those triggers to get a bunch of Mastery 1s to make Mastery 2s, and then make Mastery 3s, and eventually make Mastery 4s. However, I think just selling it at Mastery 3s is probably going to net you more money than making the final product at Mastery 4 and selling that, simply because the price is a little bit lower, so it's easier to sell. But that is just me speculating. Look at the market for yourself and make the decision yourself. See if you want to sell Mastery 3s or if you just want to upgrade straight to Mastery 4 and sell that. Or maybe you're one of those hardcore players and you want to use it for yourself, then by all means do that. But for me personally, something that I really value is Dreadkeeper 3. I really need these defensive stats simply because I play extremely sloppy and I like to be able to take multiple hits while still being able to heal up. Now do keep in mind, later down the line in the geometric labyrinth, there will be modifiers where you cannot heal more than 5 or 6 times. When that comes in, then I just need to get good. So you do need to understand that there will be multipliers which will force you to adjust your gameplay style, okay? But just to prove my point earlier about the Kukuhroziat weapons, there aren't that many on the market right now, simply because not a lot of people are farming them. As you can see here, it's basically just Rukia farming it. Well, okay, it's not Rukia, I think you changed your name to Rikita. So Rikita is basically just farming Mount Magnus all day, every day. If you watch their streams, they've literally been farming Mount Magnus ever since, it feels like ever since the patch came out, because of these Kukuhroziat rods, and they're just putting on the market for currently 10 mil, and people are buying them, so it's really good money. And if you look at the Kukuhroziat katanas, they're going for 2 million, simply because not a lot of people are farming in Alio right now. And yeah, Travis, you're dumb, ha. No, I'm just kidding, I'm just playing with you, in case Travis actually watched my videos. If you do watch it, say hi, say that you're Travis or something. I'm sorry I said you're dumb, I apologize. But anyway, my point stands that you need to understand what people want and farm for those items, because demand is high and supply is low, and thus you can make a killing on the market. So by taking the knowledge that I just imparted to you, what will become low in supply? Dreadkeeper 3, Dreadkeeper 2, Dreadkeeper in general is going to become low in supply. Why do I say that? Simply because these prices have not crashed yet. These prices have been very stable at 250,000 to 300,000, and it really hasn't dropped. Maybe on the first day it did drop, but other than that, it's pretty much bounced straight back up to 250,000. And why is that? Well, the reasoning is simple. Because no one is vet farming anymore, because if we go to Central Alio, there are only 4 veterans here instead of 7. So remember the seasonal event? That is gone. So we can't just sit in Central Retem and farm all of those veterans anymore. We actually need to room hop and stuff like that, and it's a huge hassle to coordinate, especially if you're a solo player or in a pug group. It's very difficult to coordinate that, telling people what blocks to transfer to, and so not a lot of people are dread farming anymore. So in conclusion, Kukuhroziat weapons are going for a lot of money. Dreadkeeper 3 is going to go up in price. Deafness 2s and 3s might go up in price. Stamina capsules might also go up in price. So just use your best judgment, see how the market is, see what you personally want, and farm for those items, because if you want it, chances are pretty high that there are other people that also want it, and that way you can sell it for a pretty penny. Special thanks to all the members for supporting the channel, it really means a lot to me. Thank you again. But yeah, that's all I wanted to cover in today's video. Hopefully you guys found it helpful. If you did, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye! And now for everyone's favorite part, the thumbnail. I think I'm just gonna do the gets pose and then probably just say like, understand the market or something along those lines. Alright, there's the thumbnail. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.
For the heals, the boosts, the rest.